G'day everyone and welcome to another trip report. Today I'll be telling you all about my trip north to Albury to see the newly restored 3801, which ran shuttles between Albury and Gerogery, as well I also caught the transfer between Wagga Wagga and Albury. Before we get into this video, if you're not interested in listening to me talk about my experience over the weekend, there is an unnarrated version available. It's available here. It will have the transfer from Wagga Wagga to Albury, as well as footage of the shuttles running over the Saturday. As well as you can catch my monthly video, which will have video of all the other movements I caught while I was up there. But if that's not for you, then let's get into this trip report. And of course, if you are new here, don't forget to be subscribed and have notifications turned on so you know when I've got new content coming out, which at this point is all the time. So let's get into it. So I chased the consist from Wagga Wagga to Albury at a brisk 40 kilometers per hour and caught it lineside plenty of times. We also got to see it overtaken and passed by a few other movements. I guess the standout was seeing MZ 1427 at the Rock. The MZ class was built between 1972 and 1974 by Nohab in Sweden, later to be overhauled in Copenhagen and shipped out here between 2006 and 2008. Frankly, I think it's one of Australia's more interesting locomotives and in my opinion, one of my favourites. Although we don't ever get to see them run down south due to a number of reasons. The 3801 has to be one of Australia's most recognisable locomotives with its striking green paint and its unforgettable streamlining. The 462 locomotive was built in 1943 by Clyde Engineering in New South Wales. This locomotive has had a very colourful and interesting history, from being the first streamlined locomotive in New South Wales, first steam locomotive to cross the Australian continent with the Western Endeavour in 1970, the first standard gauge steam engine to visit Adelaide, the first standard gauge steam engine to visit Brisbane. It also ran many trips with the Flying Scotsman when it was here in Australia. 3801 has been in another round of restoration since 2008 and was only returned to service in March 2021, and this trip was its first really big outing since the overhaul. I actually got a glimpse of 3801 whilst it was under restoration at Thelmy Railway Heritage Centre in 2020, which you can see a video about here. Also, on a side note, I think that still has to be one of the best railway museums I've ever been to. I should also make mention of the other two heritage diesels on this tour. 1955 Streamliner 4201 built by Clyde Engineering in Granville, which retains its green and yellow livery which it received for the 125th anniversary of New South Wales Railways in 1980 and frankly looks amazing. As well as 4501, which was built in 1962 by A.E. Goodwin. This locomotive has been passed around from operator to operator until 2007, where it was leased to 3801 Limited. So on the 3rd of April and throughout the weekend, 3801 and 4201 ran sold out shuttles between Albury Railway Station and the South Signal Loop at Gerogery. The Albury Station building was opened in February 1882 and still very much holds on to its heritage charm. The railway station has the longest covered platform in Australia at 455 metres and used to have both broad and standard gauge track until 2008 when the line from Seymour was upgraded, although there is still a small reminder of the break of gauge still there. Although the yard looks a little worse for wear, apparently it will once again become a hive of activity if and when V-Line begins operating frequent standard gauge velocity services to the border city. I managed to grab a ticket on the last service on the Saturday, and I guess that's what this series is all about, riding trains and actively supporting these groups so we can keep on enjoying them. A ticket cost $36 for the round trip, which took about 80 minutes. And in New South Wales, you don't have to wear a mask, unlike on public transport in Victoria. However, there was still a lot of space to maintain social distancing, and I had a 4-seat section all to myself. The carriage I was sat in was 1940s steel N-type carriage HN2197, a recently overhauled saloon-style second-class carriage. I was given a little information booklet on 3801, and I'll post photos on my website of its contents. So, was this trip worth the journey to make it up to the border? Absolutely, and I would certainly do it again. My one gripe is that there wasn't merchandise available at the station. However, you can buy a shirt like this one from the Transport New South Wales website, which I will leave a link to in the description below. You can pick up more than just shirts, they do have other merchandise, as well as being able to get it from the museum at Thelmere. So if you were up there chasing the train and didn't get a chance to ride it, I do suggest buying some merchandise to actively support these kind of events being run, as well as the fact that we now have 3801 will probably be with us for quite some time, as it is, from reading everything, it has received a complete overhaul, and that is fantastic, and it sounded and looked amazing, and I can't wait to see it again. So if you do want to check out my photos from the weekend, I'll also leave a link for them down in the description below. They are on my website, and of course I would love to hear some feedback about the photos and this video if you do enjoy them. Once again, if you did like the video, please hit that like button, hit the subscribe, and of course you can share these videos if you think someone out there might want to watch them. Let them know. So until next time, thank you so much for watching. Hooroo.